and welcome to the CalIP application workshop. I am Andrea Gonzalez, the program manager for the CalIP program. With me today, we have Allison French-Tubo, who is our CPCFA outreach manager, as well as our CalIP team analysts, Thaddeus Brown and Ryan Danowitz. Welcome again. So we're going to get started. Welcome again to the application workshop. A little bit of housekeeping. Please mute yourselves until you're called on to speak. When it's time for comments, we will use the raise hand feature to identify who wishes to speak. The icons, here's a picture screenshot of what it looks like. The desktop, this is the icon here. Tablet or iPad, you would click on this icon, or on your mobile phone on ellipsis, and then it'll give you the option there. We're going to go over a little bit about the program and eligibility requirements. Just an overview, the legislator designed CalIP to provide grants to enhance the capacity and ability of CDFIs to provide programs including technical assistance and access to capital to economically disadvantaged communities throughout California. We have the minimum eligibility requirements as well that are found in the statute. Applicants must have a current federal CDFI fund certification, already serving Californians in one of the following ways: have a principal office and officers domiciled in California, or 25% of the CDFI's loan portfolio provides financial assistance to persons or projects in California, or provided financial assistance in California totaling $10 million in the last 3 years prior to the application submission. Have 5 or more loans in the 12 months prior to the application, and a net worth of greater than or equal to $25,000. Eligible uses of grant funds, there are 2 categories: increasing total net assets, where CDFIs can use the grants to supplement their net assets and increase their capacity to attract additional financing for funding loans and loss reserves, or any of the following: affordable housing, business owned by low-income persons, childcare facilities, commercial facilities, credit building consumer loans, cultural service facilities, educational or healthcare facilities, or social service facilities, as well as the other use is for working capital, where CDFIs can use grant funds to fund services and operations that contribute to the CDFI's overall community development mission. It could also be a combination of both, increasing total net assets and working capital. Some application instructions. Applications must meet the eligibility requirements. The minimum ones that we just discussed are in Health and Safety Code Section 44558, Subdivision F, upon submission. Application materials must be submitted electronically via email to the CalIP inbox. Applicants must submit all application materials no later than 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on November 1st, 2023, this year. And then, we're going to go ahead and go over the application and overview. And if you have any questions, please just wait until the end, and then we'll call on whoever has their hand raised. You could also drop some of the questions in the chat, and we can discuss them as well. For the first part of the application, the applicant must provide the following information: the legal name of the applicant, taxpayer ID number, EIN, principal office, street address, contact person information, type of institution, date of incorporation, applicant's fiscal year, authorized representatives information. Very standard, straightforward information there. For part 2 of the application is where you'll indicate there's a checkbox for the amount or grant requested. There are 3 categories of funds that you can request. The first is if you're a small and emerging CDFI, 20% of any amount made available in the program funding round for small and emerging CDFIs. This will be divided equally among eligible applicants. In order to qualify as a small and emerging CDFI, you must have $10 million or less in assets. In the Tier 1 category, grantees will receive up to $100,000, and that's meeting the minimum eligibility requirements. And then for Tier 2, you will need to indicate if you apply for either one of these categories. Even in Tier 2, there's two subcategories. So the applicants with a minimum of 10 loans in the most recently fiscal year or 10 million in investments will receive an additional 100,000. The maximum grant award for a Tier 2 grantee is 200,000. And then the third part is the project information section. Here you'll be providing detailed answers to 8 questions. It is acceptable to submit an addendum or an attachment to these questions. As long as they're 12-point Arial font and the maximum of 250 words per question. We are aware that there are some formatting issues in this section. We're working on it, as well as working on the accessibility portion. We will be uploading a new version of the application, which will only be updating the formatting, and that's why you have the option to submit with an addendum, and in each section you can just say see attachment or attached document. Thank you for your patience again. In part 3, you'll be providing some information on the following: the applicant's mission, organization, infrastructure, and resources to support the ongoing activities, management team, and strategic plans, how the grant funds will support the applicant's mission, how the grant funds will support the applicant's mission. In 3, a description of the proposed eligible activities that will be performed with grant funds. Number 4, current markets the CDFI serves. Number 5, targeted regions and client types served by the CDFI. Number 6, proposed new targets, markets and target populations that will be served by the grant funds. Number 7, identify any proposed new financial activities and services that will be undertaken with grant funds. And lastly, describe the level of distress of the impacted community or new market that is being served. We understand that if you are strictly using grant funds for working capital, that some of these necessarily won't apply. Please just include that in each response. If it's not applicable, this is why. And if you're using you will plan to be using grant funds for both funding categories, working capital, or increasing your total net assets, please include that in number 3, question number 3. And then lastly, or second to last, I guess, the next section is the attachments that need to be included in the application submission. The first being the current federal certification of the CDFI. Attachment B, financial statements for the past 3 years. And attachment C, a loan portfolio. This is important so that we can verify your eligibility, that you meet the eligibility requirements. That should include the date of the loan funding, the dollar amount of loan funded, the location of the borrower, and total number of all loans. Now, lastly, the certification portion. So you just have to have the application certified and signed by your authorized signatory, and have that filled out. Next steps. So our deadline again is November 1st. Staff will be preparing staff reports and present award recommendations to the CPCFA board in January 2024. CPCFA will announce awards on the CALIP webpage by February 1st, 2024. And then shortly after, grant agreements will be distributed to awardees via DocuSign. That packet will also include a template of the annual report and requesting information for the transfer of the funds. Okay, and then moving on to our question portion. Please, again, use the raise hand feature. If you have a question, then you can, once you're called, you can unmute yourself, but please remember to mute yourself after. So we have Amar. How can we help you?
Hi, thanks for taking my question. I guess this is specific to the page limits again. I just want a clarification. So for each question, we're limited to 250 words. Is that correct?
Yes, we would like to keep it shorter just for our capacity to review all of the loans that we get. I mean, we won't hold you to the exact 250, so if you're over, that's okay.
But okay, so ideally 250, but we potentially can go over, and you
Yeah,
can also provide an addendum as well.
yes, correct.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And then next, Noni.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having this session. Quick question. Could you go back to the slide where you had the 3 sections of attachments? My question is around attachment 3 and the loan portfolio, and whether there's actually a template that we'll be completing, or where can we find the detail that needs to be included in that loan portfolio?
There is no template. This is just the information that we would like in that attachment in whatever format that the applicant decides to submit, because that's what
Okay.
we'll be reviewing.
Okay, so but that's not part of the application. Like the detail that you have here is not part of the application. So where can we find that information, or are you going to circulate this presentation?
Yeah, we will be circulating the presentation. We'll be uploading it. This came out of a question that we just received, so we will work on including this, and then we can also listserv it to the same group.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Oh, have to make a new form. If you already have a printout of your loan portfolio, you can use that. This is just information that we'll be looking for.
Got it. Thank you.
Problem. Next, Sandra Collins.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. The $15 million or more requirement in the last 3 fiscal years, is that cumulative? Meaning like if we had 4 million in 2020, 6 million in 2021, and 1 million in 2022, that's only 11 million. Would that qualify us, or do you have to hit, is there a way of what is your definition of the 15 million, I guess?
Oh, is that for the tier 2 funding?
Yes.
Yeah, so it'd be you're talking about the applicants with a minimum of 10 million investments will receive an additional 100,000. Yes, that is included in our regulations. Let me pull. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, so it says in the last, oh, sorry. Yeah, so in our regulations, it says 10 million or more in the last 3 fiscal years will receive up to 100,000 in additional funding.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. And then next, Patty Hess. Patty, if you want to unmute yourself, I'm not sure if you're muted. Okay, if not, we will move on to the next person. That's Christine.
Hi, good morning. 2 questions. One, current federal certification, is that our 501c3 letter, or what do you mean by current federal certification?
Oh, it's the CDFI certification.
Got it.
CDFI fund certification.
Great, thank you. And then when it says officers live in California, which officers and how are we verifying that?
So let me open up the application here that's on our webpage. So you would be including that under authorized representatives. And so you'd put their name, job title, email address, phone number, and then you'd click on domiciled in California.
Okay, and so the authorized representatives, they have to live in California, or at least one live in California, or they all have to live in California?
Let me check that for you. That would be in our legislation. Thank you for your patience. I believe it's all of them, but I will double check.
But it doesn't list what the officers are, and neither does the application.
Okay. We will get back to you on that one. Just 1 second.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So it does say the officers of which are domiciled. Yeah, so the principal officers.
It seems like they left it open because they know that
Yeah.
different CDFIs will have different officer structures.
Yes.
So they all have to live in California.
For you to
How-
use that qualification.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So there's 3 different ones. So you have to meet at least one. So for that one, yes, they would have to be domiciled.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then next, Amar, sorry.
Thank you. I'll just one clarification on what constitutes financing assistance. What exactly does that include? I think that's one of the eligibility requirements to have $10 million in financing assistance. So I just want to get a little bit more clarification on that.
Yeah, so it would be in loans awarded or given out. For the eligibility requirement, correct?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it'd be the loans, yeah,
Perfect. Thank you.
and the lending. Yeah. Cool. Thank you for your question. Next we have Jonathan.
Hi, thank you for having us today. I have a question regarding part 2 under grant request, in specific for tier 2.
Yes.
So we could go to tier 2. There's both option A and option B. The current CDFI, we're applying for, or as a
Yes.
CDFI we're applying for, we are eligible for both options, or we qualify for both. In our application itself, would we mark both of them, or do we have to specifically just choose one of the options?
You can just choose one, and then we'll confirm that you meet that eligibility requirement, because you wouldn't be able to apply for, double or twice for tier 2. Yeah, so it has to be either one or the other, and then we'll verify that information.
Okay, got it. So just we could just mark both, but then kind of as you hear in the slide, the maximum grant award is 200,000.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you
perfect.
for your question.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Bertha.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Hi.
I have a question regarding under eligible uses of grant funds. If we're a CDFI, but we focus on mortgage, residential loans, or down payment assistance loans, and we have those in our portfolio, will that qualify us for this grant?
Yes, that does qualify you for the grant.
Okay,
And you would indicate that, you would highlight it mostly in question 3 of the question portion.
okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, apologies, question 1 for your background in your CDFI.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
We do see your questions in the chat. We'll just go through everyone and then we'll go into the chat. Thank you for your patience. Next is Debbie.
Good morning, thank you. I'm going back to the page for the listing of the authorized representative. For CDFI, the authorized representative is the person that is the authorized signer on the agreements. For the purpose of this application, is it the entire board and senior management that you want? I just want to make sure that everything is listed.
Yeah, of course. So we will have one in the part one of the application, there'll be a contact person, and then that will be included up here. And then their information, and yes, authorized representatives would be everyone. So if it's your board, you would put everyone. And one of, those would be the authorized signer. And in the certification portion, they would put that in.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Let me.
Oh, unless their board is an officer.
Unless your board is an officer, that's when you would put it in there. Not clarifying that.
And if the president CEO of the organization is a board officer, would just that person suffice as the authorized representative on this application, or do you still want the entire board of directors and senior management?
You would want the entire senior management.
But not the entire board?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Next we have Namo. Sorry if I'm butchering your name.
Namoch.
Namoch, yes, thank you.
Yeah, so my question is in terms of fiscal year cutting date, that is of the applicants or the state fiscal year?
The applicant's fiscal year. That's a good question. Thank you.
And just follow the last person question. The authorized representative can also be the senior management, right?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Next, Olivia.
Yes, thank you. So I have a question on the selection criteria. It was just a little confusing because it looked like the application was coming out of the state treasurer's office, but we noticed the California Pollution Control Financing Authority's logo on it. So I just have a question on who is administering the grant and making the final decisions. And is the selection strictly based on eligibility, or is there anything that will make an application stronger?
Thank you for your question. Allison will be.
Hi, I'm CPCFA's outreach manager. We'll hold on for the echo. Sorry about that. So CPCFA, California Pollution Control Financing Authority, is an independent established by the legislature. We are under the state treasurer's office. So it is correct that you will sometimes see references to state treasurer's office and sometimes to CPCFA. In legislation, which was then put into statute when it's chaptered, CPCFA was designated by the legislature to administer the CalIP program. So CPCFA is the administrator of CalIP. Andrea works for CPCFA as the CalIP program manager. And then as to strength of application, I think we're going to turn that back over to Andrea, but I'll just put in the general reminder. The basic parameters and qualifications for this program were set by the legislature. So you can always look at the statute. That's why we have links to it on the webpage to see this information anytime you want to check on it.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you for your question. Do you have any additional questions?
No, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. And then I believe that's it for the raised hand feature. No one else is there. So we will move on to the questions. The first one is, do small and emerging CDFIs still qualify under tier 1 and tier 2 amounts, or is it a different award amount? So you would only qualify under 1. So if it's small and emerging and that's, where you are applying, then you would only indicate 1. I just want to pull up the application where that is. So it would be these categories. You'd apply to 1. how can we access this presentation? It's being recorded and it will be uploaded to our webpage. If you have questions in the meantime, please just reach out to our CalIP inbox and we will get back to you. Are these grants limited to small business lending? Is mortgage residential lending eligible? Yes, it is eligible, and they aren't limited to small businesses. And then the next question, can you please explain the difference in what question 4 and 5 in section 3, project information? So let's go over to that question. Provide a description of the proposed eligible activities that will be performed with grant funds, and then list the current markets the CDFI serves. So number 4 is the current markets that the CDFI serves, and number 3 is what, it will be used for, what grant funds will be used for.
Sorry, I apologize. I was asking for clarification between 4 and 5.
Oh, yes. Okay, that makes more sense. We have had some questions on this. So the current markets, and then any targeted regions and client types that are new that will be used with the grant funds received, if there's any. If there are none, you can indicate that. We're using the grant funds for working capital or for this, and then you can include that.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Next, my CDFI does equity investments. Does convertible equity count as lending? Allow us to still qualify, or is it really only for debt? I don't know the exact answer to that one, so I can circle back to that question. Apologies. The next one, what is the format for the fiscal year? It is whatever the fiscal year is of the CDFI. The CDFI is the applicant's fiscal year. Should we state how many loans we think we'll be making with the 200K if that is the amount we get? Yes, we would like to have that information. Good morning. Questions surrounding question 6 and 7. Do we need to serve new markets and introduce new services under this grant, or can we use that space to further describe the communities we serve? Yes, you can do that. And we understand that not all of these questions apply. This is just to give us a better understanding of what the grant funds will be used for and how it'll be serving the community. Next question, also wondering what types of indicators is the agency considering for assessment for distress level? We do have some indicated. If you look at the application on question 8, we use some examples such as geography, unemployment rate, poverty rate, industries impacted, number of businesses license issued, and fiscal stress. So it could be some of those, it could be all of those. If none, please just describe. Did you want, the next question, sorry, did you want an on-balance sheet portfolio or did you want an on and off-balance sheet portfolio? Should target markets listed only include California? The answer to the first question is please focus on, so I'll go back to the PowerPoint slide for the loan portfolio. We'll be looking at the following: the date of loan funding, dollar amount of loan funded, location of borrower, and total number of all loans. These are the indicators for us to make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements. So serving California, the amount, in each eligibility requirement. And we'll post this as well so that, and we can highlight it on our listserv as well. Next question, will all the answers to today's questions be shared? Yeah, we're going to work on getting this uploaded and then also having a frequently asked FAQ section on our webpage as well. So we will get that uploaded in the next week. But if you have any questions, please, reach out. We are here. Next question, should target markets listed only include California? Yes, sorry, I had already answered that one. Next question, will there be a rubric for evaluation applications? What makes a strong application? So per the legislation, the intention of the application is that if you are eligible and you complete the application, you will receive funds. And that is the purpose. If there's a question, I know some people had concerns for questions 1 through 8. Just, try your best, reach out if you want any clarifications for any of the questions. But this is information that we would appreciate, to be transparent and have for our annual reporting, because that is something that the legislation calls for CPCFA to have. So these questions will help us, get that information out, to highlight the success of the program or just how it's serving California. So it is very helpful. But if you have a question about any of these sections, please feel free to reach out. The next question, are making clean energy loans eligible? And if so, what go under increasing total net assets or working capital? So I believe they are clean energy loans are not listed in the legislation. So unfortunately, they would not be eligible at this time. Next question, will any preference be given to use of funds, working capital versus loans? No, it will not. Again, the intention is if you are eligible and meet the requirements for whichever funding category you're applying and you submit the application on time and complete, then yes, you will receive grant funds. Next question, do you want our national portfolio or a California specific portfolio? It would be nice to have a California specific portfolio just so to make it easier for our analysts and our team to review your eligibility. Okay, thank you for your question. Next question, would a CDFI credit union's 5,200 that represents both a financial statement and a credit union's loan profile filed with the NCUA suffice for attachment B and attachment C? So as long as it meets, if it shows the information so that you can be eligible, then yes, it would meet it. The formatting is not the most important. The next question, for the 3 years of financial statements, do you need 36 sets of financials or just the 3-year ends, and do they need to be audited financials? The second question, yes, they do need to be audited financials. That's included in the statute requirement. And then the 36 sets of financials or just the 3-year ends.
I would think the year.
I would think the year ends. Yes, the year ends would suffice. Thank you for that question. Next question, targeted markets. Does the program follow the CDFI fund's current to date definition of target markets, or can we propose others, obviously in California? Yes, please, give us more information if you'd like. But yes, you can also go with the definition. Next question, can you please re-explain question 5 again, please? So let's see. Application question 5, list the targeted regions and client types served by the CDFI. So this could be, where you're located, what city in California or area, and then client types would be, if you serve, I mean, it's pretty open. So if you serve a certain community or a certain client type, such as like childcare loans, things like that, you can include. Next question, we are a national CDFI for the current markets of the CDFI serves. Do you want us to describe only our California markets or all the markets we serve throughout the country? We'd prefer just California, please. And then the next question, not whose fiscal year the format to enter into the form. Oh, I think that was an answer to one of the questions. Next question, just to clarify, this grant can be used to make loans or to support our operating costs, correct? Yes, that's correct. The operating costs would be under working capital, but just describe that in the question section. Next one, when including portfolio information, do you also want portfolio information for organizations that administer the state loan guarantee programs under the SSBCI?
That is the state loan guarantee program is iBank's portion of SSBCI, but they're not excluded from this. You should be showing your entire portfolio for California.
Thank you, Allison. Next question, can we go back to part 1 on the slideshow? Yes. Part 1. Oops. And I don't think that was a question, but I will leave it up. Oh, and then where can we find eligible loan? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wanted to make sure I got everything, so I wanted to say thank you. That was all I needed.
Oh, okay, no worries. And 8 is listed again in our application. So if you need to get that information, it's on there. And there's boxes so you can put that information in. Where can we find eligible loan types for this legislation?
I dropped the link
Oh,
to the statutes and regulations.
perfect. Thank you. So if you go into the chat, Allison included the links. They're on our CalIP webpage. Again, if you have any questions or need something, go ahead and email us. The next one, is it possible to get a copy of the slide deck? Yes, please reach out to our CalIP inbox. It's the same one. Oh, sorry, apologies. Let me go back up. That's listed here, calip@treasurer.ca.gov. You can request it if it hasn't been posted yet, and we can provide that to you via email. Next question, what qualifies as eligible activities under working capital? It is very open-ended, so it could be if you need technical assistance or to fund, I know one of the things we highlighted is like positions or staff or CFO, things like that. It's very open, so just please describe as much as you can in the application. Next question, is there a link limit for the narrative response? Do we need to stay within the lines provided? Unfortunately, there are some formatting issues with those lines. Please feel free to provide an attached addendum. We would prefer if they weren't too lengthy, 250 words, but you can go over. It's not gonna take away points. There's no points, you know. So feel free to provide as much information as you'd like. The next question, our CDFI was founded in 2020 and we only have end of year for 2021 and 2022. Does that mean we're eligible? So you have to, you know, that's understandable, but you still have to meet the eligibility requirements. That per se is not an eligibility requirement, but you do have to have the minimum eligibility requirements. The next one, audited financials. We are undergoing our fiscal year 6/30/23 audit currently. Do you want audited reports for 2021, 22, 2021? Or should we include the internal financials? Yes, please. Please turn in your internal financials for fiscal year 6/30/23. That would be sufficient, and we will reach out if we have any questions. What is the maximum award for, that was the next question, what is the maximum award for small and emerging CDFIs? So that is going to depend on how many applicants we get under this funding category. It'll be divided equally among eligible applicants. It'll be 20% of 15 million though. I do know. Next question. Next question, can we select both working capital and loans, or do we need to pick only one use of funds? No, you can do both. Please just, you know, describe that in the question portion to give us that information. And if you have any more questions, please drop it on the chat or raise your hand. Okay, we'll go back to the raised hand. I see but there's 2 people. We will go to Jonathan next. Jonathan?
Hi, thank you again. Regarding the loan portfolio for the location,
Yeah.
would you just like the address or would you like more specific detail? I don't know, like just to clarify, I know that's on.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, the you could include the address, whatever information that we can verify that it's used in California, that's given out in California for someone in California that serves California. So
Okay,
either one's fine.
got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So we do real estate lending and all our projects are real estate projects. So I think for the location of the bar, it would be the location of the project itself, not necessarily the borrower. That makes sense. All of our projects are here in California.
Okay. Yeah, and as long as the money is being used to serve California.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then we have Noni as well.
Yes, again, hi, thanks. I want to go back and clarify your answer to the question about loan portfolio. So someone asked whether you wanted to see on and off balance sheet loan portfolio activity. And so I wanted to clarify because I think the answer didn't quite get to what I believe the intention of the question was. So some CDFIs lend from their balance sheet, and that's considered on balance sheet lending. And so we have a portfolio of those loans. And then we often lend, I'm a real estate affordable housing lender. We also often lend on behalf of another lender, and that's considered off balance sheet lending. So I think the question that was being asked is, do you want to see the entirety of that lending activity, or do you want it to be focused on the on balance sheet? For the federal CDFI fund, it's focused on the on balance sheet lending activity. So just wanted to, I think, further drill down into that question.
And apologies, I don't have a straight answer, but we'll confirm with our legal. But we will want to make sure that we are on the same page as the CDFI fund requirements.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back to me on that one. Oh, okay. So then the next question is the funding for 1 year or is it for a multi-year award? It's for 1 year, and we will have another round the following year. The next question,
Venture capital CDFIs.
if venture capital CDFIs can qualify for this program, does investment activity count as 5 loans in the last 12 months? We would need to review that question as well and circle back with legal. Please,
Sachiko.
Thank you for that question, and we will get back to you on that. Okay, so next question, and could you possibly repeat the distress indicators you're looking for? Thanks. We listed some on the application, but you could go back and reiterate the indicators that you identified in your CDFI fund application as well. So you're not limited to the ones that are listed on the question, in the question. And then for the next one, what period of time should the loan portfolio cover? It needs to cover whatever eligibility requirements for the funding type that you're requesting. So for example, you need to meet the minimum qualifications, which is 5 or more loans in the last 12 months prior to the application. So, prior to the last 12 months. And then for if you're applying for funding in the tier 2 category, that would be 10 loans in the most recently fiscal year. Our next question is, since there will be another round of funding next year, wouldn't some of the CDFIs that fell just short of 3 years of audited financials qualify in the next round? Yes, they would. Thank you for that question, Sheila. Oh, okay. So we have another one. Good afternoon. I had issues with the link to access the webinar. Would you be sharing the webinar with the participants? Thank you. Yes, we will be sharing the webinar recording on our webpage, the CalIP webpage. If you would like a copy of the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, please feel free and reach out to the calip@treasurer.ca.gov, and I'll put that up here. So calip, CALIIP@treasurer.ca.gov. We will check in on and circle back to the questions that we didn't have answers today. Apologies for that. If we don't reach out in a certain amount of time. If you would want to reach out again through the CalIP inbox as well, please feel free to do so. And then I'm just going to show, since I just want to show the web page too. So we are under the Treasurer's Office under CPCFA. So you can Google CPCFA or CalIP. It is under the Cal Investment and Innovation Program. And we have our brochure, our statutes and regulations linked here. We have program updates, we have general information, and an application web link, which has our instructions for the application. And so hopefully if you have any questions, you can reach out there. If not, you can also sign up to our listserv. At the bottom of the page, there's this little icon that says connect with us, and you could register to the CalIP inbox through there. And if you have any other questions, yeah, just feel free to email the calip@treasurer.ca.gov inbox. So thank you for your time and for all of your questions. Oh, we have one more question from Nathan. The loan portfolio information is helpful. Is that to organizations over originations over the last 3 years are outstanding? It would be the last 3 years.
He's asking the originations in the past 3 years only, or it should include loans that were originated further back than 3 years but are still outstanding.
So I would say the ones in the recent 3 years.
So
but it couldn't hurt to have more information, like Allison pointed out. So if you'd like to include that, we will get that information. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine as well. The loans closed in the last 3 years. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thanks again for your time. Please reach out if you have any more questions. We are here to help, and thank you for your patience. This is our first time and our first round, so we're very excited, and we look forward to receiving the applications on November 1st. Have a wonderful day, everyone.